Today, you may come across people with all kinds of strong sentimental attachments. Animal lovers, environmentalists, political supporters, vegans, religious people, spiritualists, and so on. I do not say it is a particularly good or a bad thing to get sentimentally attached to any such cluster of ideas. Nor do I say all vegans, religious people, or animal lovers are so emotionally involved in what they follow, but it makes them susceptible to errors if they let emotions override scientific facts. I find myself inundated with messages from such groups. Be green, eat vegetables, do not hurt animals, do not eat meat, protect Mother Earth, eat organic, go to church, meditate, go vote, find your consciousness from listening to me, and so on. If you desperately tried to promote something, even if it is scientifically legitimate, you would probably sound like a salesman. And because we live in a world where so many want to sell you their stuff to make a profit, some may associate your approach with that business tactic, and you would lose people's interest. The following examples serve only to highlight a harmful way of thinking in a general sense, not to single out any particular group. If there's any proof that eating vegetables improves one's health, identifying it and allow open criticism. If you try to explain what spirituality is, don't merely say, I feel it, that's why it exists, because it is unscientific just to believe someone for what they are saying, especially if their claim is based on an opinion. When you say it is immoral to eat animals, please explain what you mean by immoral and animal. I suspect people often present their cause unscientifically because of an emotional entanglement. But unfortunately, we can all fall prey to this game of feelings sometimes, and this is exactly why we should be aware of it. If you have a wife, it may be hard for you to accept that marriage is just an illusion, a game humans invented, a ritual. You are prone to find any good reason for why you are married, and you may not be objective because of that. Try to convince the priest that there is no such thing as God. It will be very unlikely for him to look at the evidence objectively because religion composes his self-image. His wife, children, and friends know and love him for who he is. If he alters his outlook on God and religion, he risks severing his relationship and self-image. The same may happen with one who devotes their entire life to eating vegetables because they think it will improve their health. It may or may not be so, it doesn't matter. The point is that if you scientifically show them that eating vegetables does not improve their health at all, they may find it difficult to accept and internalize this information. How can you tell a mother who lost a child that there is no God and no heaven and that her son is lost forever? The point I want to make is that we all can get trapped in emotional games and thus become prone to subjective analyses of reality. I don't care why animal lovers love their pets so much, or what animal they love, or why some people do not eat meat and others believe in gods. This is not the concern of this video. The focus is on the liability of erroneous thinking due to emotional involvement. But we titled this video Harmful Thinking. Why is that? I was born in a little patch of planet Earth, which some people call Romania, just another cluster of people on a patch of Earth separated by mere values and for monetary incentive from the other patches. There, many people survive with less than $200 to $300 a month. I am talking about families, not individuals. Try to split $200 with 2 adults and 2 to 3 kids, pay electric bills, buy clothes, food, etc. Another characteristic of Romania is its stray dogs. Dogs that live on the streets and eat from accessible garbage bins or whatever else they find. There's no doubt that these dogs can be dangerous. Dog bites occur on a regular basis as a result of the stray dog situation. In 2012 alone, around 16,000 people were bitten by dogs in Bucharest, the capital of Romania. Out of these, 3,300 were children. At least 3 deaths have occurred in Bucharest as a result of dog packs biting citizens. I remember when I lived in Romania that there were many cases in which these dogs attacked people, a few times mortally wounding them. Happened to me, happened to my friends, happened to the people I knew. This is some footage recorded when I was in Romania for the holidays. These poor people picked the bins from the nearby store and emptied them in return for the favor of being able to scavenge through them and find leftovers to eat. That man is the father of these 2 kids who are around 12 years old. Look at how many stray dogs there are. People are often afraid of these dogs and walk with fear and caution. This old man is another poor human being who scavenges through bins for food and other stuff. As you can see, he is attacked by dogs without him doing anything. Every time I had to go outside or come back home, I had to go through at least 1 pack of 8 to 9 big dogs. You may say they don't seem dangerous, although the video shows otherwise, but it is undeniable that there is a risk. Not to mention the sanitation hazards they create, from the mess they make while scavenging through the trash, or the many diseases they may carry. But here's the ironic part of the situation. Many people in Romania actually fuel the problem. They feed these dogs and make sure they don't get euthanized or taken away. They are the ones that bring the dogs from elsewhere and raise them in these public spaces. And this leads us to the harmful way of thinking I am talking about, being emotionally trapped in the situation. There's no way one can sit down and talk to these people, even with statistics and proofs of why street dogs pose a danger and an overall discomfort for the population. These people often raise their voices and scream of their love for the dogs, but they don't do that for the millions of pigs slaughtered every Christmas in their backyards, because this is a Romanian tradition after all. Or the millions of lambs slaughtered every Easter for the same purpose, or the rats, bugs, chickens, flies, and other living creatures killed by Romanians and most humans out there for various reasons. Now imagine how some rational beings would perceive the situation. Number 1. The street dogs are a potential danger for humans, create distress for many, and in some cases directly threaten or take people's lives. Plus, number 2, many people in Romania are extremely poor and can barely afford anything to eat. Plus, number 3, methods to resolve the problem wouldn't be able to help every single dog. Therefore, some dogs will have to be put down. This equals the dogs that cannot be saved and are going to be killed should serve as a source of food to help support the poor. I am sure many would feel disgusted by this idea, but this is just another example of harmful thinking at work. From your current perspective, you probably couldn't imagine anyone eating dog meat, but you must consider that your view is based only on your own beliefs, beliefs that aren't prevalent in other cultures, and clinging only to your beliefs without evaluating the full scope of options severely limits your possibilities. Dog meat is regularly consumed in China or Korea, and even some parts of Switzerland. And although scientifically there is no harm in eating dog meat, many people don't even consider the option and continue to starve.
觉得吃狗肉不是很残忍吗？哪有哪里残忍？鸡牛要更残忍咯，那个牛帮你们耕田的，你更残忍咯。
宠物狗可以不吃。 普通的狗就应该吃，没啥了不起。我们的国家还要建设嘛，建设要不要挣钱？是吧？他养狗也是为了挣钱，也是为了国家的繁荣。
师傅，这些狗是从哪里来的？
养来的，大帮的养来的，不是宠物搞这个。
如果你们养狗的话，为什么这么便宜？因为养狗很贵，对吗？因为他们只是
宠物狗的贵，这不是宠物狗。如果是宠物狗，我们也不敢杀，懂不懂？这个不是宠物狗。
外国人觉得狗是通人性的，
是通人性的，
然后牛不是。
有一些不通啊，有一些通人性，有一些是菜，这种是菜狗。然后在印度嘛，它牛是神嘛。
我知道。
你们吃牛，英国吃牛，他印度人全部反对你们英国人，他怎么可以呢？是不是一样的一个道理啊？
This sentimental way of thinking, based on culture, restricts people's ability to survive and is a detriment to the poor and the society. As a matter of fact, the poor people you have seen in that video, the ones that were scavenging through the bins, were accused of eating stray dogs, and many were disgusted by this despite the fact that the ones complaining feel no mercy in killing other animals for food. It is not that I advocate eating dogs as a solution for starvation. We can probably feed the entire world population without killing any animal. I just want to emphasize that many people, even when their life is in danger, starvation, are more inclined to act on an emotional basis over a rational one, and that can lead to their own or other people's harm. We wouldn't have gone very far with this type of limited thinking. In some regions, especially some states in India, the slaughter of cattle is prohibited, and eating cow meat is a taboo. This is because of their dominant religious beliefs, sentiments before reason. You can probably find some Hindu people who would eat dogs as their traditional meal, and you will definitely find Romanian people eating cows. This is just a matter of culture. But even if these people are starving, they still confine themselves to their individual beliefs. There are a plethora of rules and restrictions when it comes to eating food in this world due to cultural or religious beliefs. If there was a beehive in a Romanian public building, logically, people would remove it immediately without giving it a second thought. They would kill hundreds of bees without feeling guilty, and they would argue that it was a potential danger for all of them if they would not do that. But when faced with a slightly different scenario, some Romanians' actions seem to be contradictory. A funny thing happened many years ago around the place at which I stayed in Romania. A sheep got lost somehow and ended up in the parking lot of some nearby buildings, the same lot stray dogs used to hang out. I remember some dog-loving people saying that the sheep makes lots of noises, it defecates all over the parking lot, scavenges through bins, maybe it's dangerous for the kids passing by, and that we should get rid of it. And they did so in a few days. But yet they didn't raise a finger to deal with the dangers of the wild dogs, since obviously they don't defecate, bark at people, scavenge through garbage, or pose any danger whatsoever. In India, if instead of cows there were chickens on the streets, people would probably happily kill some for tonight's dinner, but still never harm a cow under any circumstances, no matter how harsh. 10 years or so ago, a family with which my family had connections did something many others are still doing today. They chose church over a hospital when their daughter was having a seizure. Luckily for the girl, she survived, but not due to the church, as you may realize, just by chance. Many other such scenarios happen all over the world when beliefs override scientific reasoning, but the outcome is usually not a positive one. In contrast, one great example of how you should not rely solely on emotional ideologies to solve a problem is demonstrated by the way that the parents of a sick boy, Sam, managed their kid's illness.
When I'm building Legos, I feel like I can create my own world and kind of go into that place where, you know, everything is based on my rules.
As a child, Sam was diagnosed with progeria, a disease that makes the boy age at an extremely elevated rate.
There's really no way of telling what I would be like if I didn't have progeria. I wish I could ride any roller coaster I wanted to ride, like, ever. Like, I wish I could, like, do loop-de-loops and corkscrews and stuff and barrel rolls. Even though I'm, like, terrified of them, it would be, like, cool to know that I could try them out.
Thus, many with the disease do not even reach their 20s.
I didn't put myself in front of you to have you feel bad for me. I put myself in front of you to let you know that you don't need to feel bad for me, because I want you to get to know me. This is my life. And this progeria is part of it. It's not a major part of it, but it is part of it.
Both of Sam's parents are scientists, physicians, and they dedicated their lives to find a cure for their child, instead of praying for him or not doing anything at all.
Okay, so progeria is known as a premature aging syndrome. It doesn't have all of the signs of aging because Sam's a 13-year-old with a 13-year-old mind, and he doesn't have cataracts, and he doesn't have, other cancer and other problems. But from the cardiovascular standpoint, these kids all develop progressive cardiovascular disease without exception. Sam's cardiovascular status is not what it was a year ago. He's had no strokes, he's had no heart attacks, but he does not have a normal cardiovascular system. And his bones are a little weaker, I think.
We've always been very cautious, but we want to be careful. I know you do too, but if he's having, an obvious breathing problem or chest pain or something like that, then that's obviously more serious.
Not to scare you too much, but just being observant without, being like this would be probably a good idea.
When Sam was diagnosed with progeria in 1998, there was nothing out there. There was no research going on, no treatment, no cure, no foundation to go to. I was in the middle of my first year of medical residency, and I stopped.
We came up with this idea to form a foundation, and Leslie's sister, Audrey, was right there, right from the very beginning. And Audrey, being a lawyer, she was ready to drop that career to help her nephew.
I say to Leslie, just tell me what you need. Tell me how much it's going to cost, and don't worry about the money. We'll find it, because we have to.
Since they began their pursuit for a cure, they managed to identify a gene linked to progeria and developed a treatment to ameliorate the symptoms of the disease.
I scanned these at Rhode Island Hospital. That won't be good enough quality. You want to do it yourself?
Now we have the team, we've got the experts, we've got people who know more about progeria than anybody else in the world.
So this is what we found, and this is the heart disease of a 65-year-old, and it looks very similar to what you're seeing here.
His skin is a little bit like, this is what I see when I see the younger kids with progeria. And look at her hands.
So what about the HMOs?
But we're right in the center. I want to move around a little bit and just check. I'm impressed because this is not right. I didn't expect it to grow as well. I would put these back, though.
We're just in a race that we just need to win.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It's in. It's in. It's in, dude. Yeah. Finally.
I just opened it. Yahoo! Audrey Gordon. Yes. We are pleased to inform you that the PNAS editorial board has given final approval for your article for publication. Oh, don't cry now. What am I supposed to do right now?
News coming out of the Boston Children's Hospital at this hour, the first ever treatment for a rare childhood.
Researchers at Children's Hospital have made a significant breakthrough on
for children suffering from a rare disease, progeria, which causes rapid aging.
Most of the time, medical research is more like a marathon than a 100-meter dash. But today, researchers are publishing the result of a scientific sprint.
We had never studied progeria. We didn't know anything about progeria. It's an extremely rare disease.
Finally, I can say yes. Something is really happening here.
I'm here to talk to you about the results of the first treatment trial for children with progeria.
I feel like now progeria is more known. I know more about it genetically. So it's less of an embodiment now. It used to be like this thing that prevents me from doing all this stuff that causes other kids to die, that causes everybody to be stressed, and now it's, a protein that is abnormal that weakens the structure of cells. And it takes a burden off of me because now I don't have to think about progeria as an entity. As for my life, I just feel insanely lucky. I have great friends, and I'm pretty happy with my personality for the most part. I always like to let my friends and family know how much I care about them, even if it's not like saying I love you, because that would be a little awkward with my bros. But, just... I think it's just all about being happy and loving and accepting your emotions so that you can make it better, I guess.
And even though Sam tragically passed away, they made tremendous advancements in treating progeria that may later help save many children from the disease, or at least ameliorate their symptoms. This is an intelligent way to take action. Instead of relying on emotional behavior, one must apply their emotions in a practical way to achieve progress. Being scientific is the best way to solve a problem. Harmful thinking only results when cultural values interfere with a scientific education, or when one cannot properly conduct relevant research, thus breeding an irrational mind. This is something of which we should be acutely aware. The best decisions will be made when you are not emotionally trapped and when you use science to arrive at a conclusion. I think if only 70% of the world's population would have a scientific mind, we would live in a wonderfully creative and peaceful world.
I'm nervous.
About the side effects?
Mm-hmm.
How can I help you with that?
You can't. Just take the Tylenol all the time.
You know what? Let's make sure you stay hydrated. We'll measure you if you think you have a fever or you feel funny immediately, and we'll take care of it. Last one, Sammy.